Dear children, how are you? How are you? Don't be shy. Today is a happy day, okay? Today is the day that you are going to receive First Holy Communion, Jesus in your heart. That is what we believe, right? Now, I am pretty sure your catechism teacher, Christina, was good to you. Was she good to you?
Yes.
Did she ask you sometimes a simple question, where is Jesus? That means I must speak to your catechism teacher, okay? Now, this particular question was asked by one of the catechism teachers somewhere in the world, where is Jesus? Now, this is my question, where is Jesus? Where is Jesus? In the heart. Good answer. Here there is one enthusiastic.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Monique. Everywhere. Everywhere. Well, that's a good answer too. But then, when this question was put, one of the candidates for the First Holy Communion answered, Jesus is in the washroom. And the teacher was so surprised. How come this answer? And the teacher asked, how Jesus in the washroom? How? Explain to me. And he said, ma'am, every day morning, my dad stands at the door of the washroom, knocks at it, and when it is shut, not open, he cries aloud, Jesus Christ, are you still in there? Right answer. Jesus is everywhere. Jesus is everywhere. Dear friends, let us come to the serious topic now. One of the most important aspects of our daily life is to have communion with Christ, our Lord. Through prayer, through sacraments, through the reading of the Bible, through the Holy Rosary, and many devotions that we do, and especially what we call daily little prayer. Prayer life is so important. As we take food, as we take rest, as some of you do everyday physical exercise, and as some of you use your cell phones every day, sometimes overtime, overuse, in the same way, we need to have that communication and communion with Jesus. Now, today's gospel passage is so beautiful. Jesus says, as I have loved you, as my Father has loved me, I have loved you. And therefore, keep my commandments. Now, that is the most important thing. Keeping God's commandments. Now, what are these commandments? If you go to the Old Testament, we have heard these 10 commandments, right? All these 10 commandments. And how many of you know the 10 commandments? Can you say them in memory? No need, okay? Go home and read them. Your parents must be knowing better than you, okay? Ask them to find out where are the 10 commandments and show you. And the whole list of 10 commandments. Now, all these 10 commandments were given in the Old Testament. And the new commandments are given by Christ. Now, very important thing, dear children, and all of you gathered here, the most important thing that in our life we have to understand is God chose us. That is why I chose you. God has chosen you. Now, I was just trying to reflect why God chose us. God created this beautiful universe. The mountains, the valleys, the creatures, the elephants and the lions and the tigers and all sorts of beautiful animals, birds and fish. But God chose us in a very special way. Now I was deeply reflecting on this fact. Why God chose us? Just imagine, over the centuries and millions of years, only human beings have this special privilege of growing in everything that they do. Everything that they do. Not the animals. Animals are the same. You have seen the birds. They still continue to build their nests. They don't build any sophisticated houses. Look at the lions and tigers and animals. They do not build any sophisticated machines. They are the same. Human beings are chosen because they are endowed with intelligence, skills, the art, knowledge, wisdom, culture, all that is endowment. We have received such a lot of resources from God because God has chosen us. These days, dear children, how many of you use cell phones? Do you use cell phone? Do you use cell phone? Oh, today children without cell phone, impossible. Do you use cell phone? Oh, he does not use. Good. You will get it shortly, okay? Do you use cell phone? No. Dad's phone sometimes, mom's phone sometimes. All these beautiful instruments that human beings have created. And recently I came to know, I'm from India, okay? My brothers and sisters who were never calling me from India, I had to call them. Nowadays, they are calling me frequently. I was thinking, why do you spend money on phone? I can call. From Canada, it is cheap. They said, now we don't pay for our phones at all. Why? WhatsApp? WhatsApp gives you free phone calls all over the world. Do you know that? If you do not know that, come and ask me. I will give you all the information. You need not spend money for your phone calls. If you have an app, WhatsApp app, you can call. You can see the person right there. This is the kind of technology that is advancing, dear friend. From where does it come? It comes from God, because God has given us these brains. God has not given these brains to lions and tigers, to dinosaurs and to other animals or to the fish. That is where we understand God has chosen us. And in this choice, we need to monopolize by following the commandments of Christ. Now, what are the commandments of Christ? Dear children, I just enlighten you today. We are living in a society. We need all people, okay? All types of people. Jesus embraced all of them. And therefore, when Jesus was sitting with the tax collectors and sinners, some of the Pharisees and scribes said, hey, you are a holy man. Why are you sitting with these tax collectors and sinners? You should not sit with them. And Jesus said, the Son of Man came to call back the sinners. So we are living in a society where there are good and bad people. So we need to be always cordial, hospitable as Jesus was. Now, what is the positive commandment that Jesus is giving? We have this beautiful parable in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 25, where Jesus says, when the Son of Man sits on the throne, he will be dividing between the sheep and the goats, and he will be saying to the sheep, blessed are you, enter into my kingdom. Why? When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. When I was a prisoner, you visited me. When I was sick, you nursed me. And therefore, blessed are you. Come into my kingdom. Dear children, this is the commandment of Christ. All of us. And therefore, when we are in the school, if you find a child who is not well talented, a child who is not doing well, you need to have compassion like Christ. Loving them, understanding them. And for all of us, dear friends, this is the greatest commandment Jesus is giving. Jesus will not ask you how many masses you attended, how many pilgrimages you made, how many way of the crosses you did, how many rosaries you recited, how many fasts you did. God is not going to ask that. According to Jesus, these are the commands Jesus is giving us. Now, another most important point we have to keep in mind is love is sacrifice. That's why Jesus says in today's gospel passage, there is no greater love than laying down one's life for one's friends. I remember in my life how my dad and mom practically laid their life for me. Dear children, open your eyes. Open your eyes. How much of trouble your parents are taking for you? How painful is the trouble? And today we are celebrating Mom's Day, Mother's Day. You can just imagine the pain the mother had for 9 months carrying you in her womb. You know, sometimes we don't even think about it. We would never think about it. And I am sometimes emotionally moved when my mother was weeping when she was pregnant with my sister. She was weeping, carrying that baby for 9 months. That is laying down one's life for one's friends. Dear friends, our greatest friends are our family members. And therefore, today as you are growing, you are receiving Holy Communion, you should have the greatest respect and love for your parents. Greatest. That is the 4th commandment in the Old Testament. The new commandment is, Jesus is saying, there is no greater love than laying down one's life for one's friends, and your best friends in this world are your parents. And the next is, Jesus says, I call you friends and not servants. Today's gospel again. I call you friends. Dear friends, we are all called to be friends. You know, when there is a superiority and inferiority complex between two people, they cannot be friends at all. Friendship is on equal footing. And this is what I always give them, a long homily whenever they celebrate wedding in this church. I tell them, you are friends, husband and wife. No matter husband earns millions and wife does not earn anything, but you are equal in the presence of God. Only then we are friends. Equal. Totally equal. The husband may be muscled with all 6 packs muscles and strong, but that does not make him superior at all. Or wife may be a manager in a company or CEO. She cannot be superior to her husband. They are all equal. And for children too. Dear friends, you must be friends to your parents. And dear parents, be friends to your children. You know, that is the maximum fulfillment of God's command. Now when we read some of the books on mysticism, ultimately what comes to that point, peak experience of union with God is God practically becomes equal to the soul. That is real friendship. And that's why Jesus calls his disciples, I do not call you friend, I do not call you servants, I call you friends. Because I have disclosed to you everything that I have heard from my Father. Dear friends, as we are celebrating this great day, especially the day of the Holy Communion for our children, remember children, today you are receiving what we call the greatest gift from God. And that's the Holy Communion. And I recommend very strongly to you that whenever there is an opportunity to get reconciled with God, now if you have hurt someone, if you have done something wrong, because we are all human beings, we hurt people, we sometimes fall, we make mistakes, we are sinners, but then there is always a possibility of reconciliation. You know, whenever you do something wrong, apologize. Apologize to your children, to your parents, to your teachers, to your family members, brothers and sisters. That is how we prepare ourselves to receive Holy Communion on weekdays or Sundays. That means keeping our heart clean, keeping ourselves pure to receive the body and blood of Jesus Christ. As Jesus himself said very clearly, unless you eat the Son of Man and drink his blood, you will not have life in you. So, first Holy Communion day for you, dear children, keep it as a greatest memory in your life? Remember, during my days when I received Holy Communion, they did not have photographs. I could not have a photograph. Today, left and right, you can take photographs. You can keep them as a beautiful token of this great day. And then continue to read a little bit of Bible, pray, and always help your parents, and parents help your children to grow responsibly in their life. Therefore, dear friends, on this day when we celebrate this sixth Sunday of Easter, for all of us, the greatest message is love. There is no greater love than laying down one's life for one's friends. And Jesus has called us friends, and therefore we must be the happiest people on earth. Kindly rise with prophet.